If you enjoy, hit the like and comment. You can also subscribe if you wanted. Maybe I'm in love with... No, hold on. Hello, Internet. Welcome back to Jams by Jish. I'm Jish, and today I have a little quick video for you where I'm going to talk about Nonsense by Sabrina Carpenter and what makes this song so special. If you like this video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And without further ado, let's get into it. So, you're going to be, for the sake of this video, taking the POV of a songwriter aspiring to create the next Nonsense, right? And obviously there's a lot of intangible things that we can't replicate here. We can't all be Sabrina Carpenter, but we can employ the same tricks that Sabrina Carpenter employed to make a song like Nonsense. I also want to emphasize that this video is about the lyricism, not the instrumental of the track. First, we should talk about Sabrina Carpenter's vulnerability that she displays on this track. Prior to this, if you're familiar with the Olivia Rodrigo, Sabrina Carpenter kind of drama that happened, a lot of people just didn't really like Sabrina Carpenter. They saw her as the person who stole Olivia Rodrigo's boyfriend. And I think that this is a good track to show to that sort of person who felt upset by that, because this is Sabrina Carpenter at her up there in her most vulnerable. She's just talking about how embarrassed and how flustered she gets when she's around someone she's attracted to. There's a lot of artists who can't show that sort of vulnerability, who can't show that sort of relatability. Being this vulnerable on a track makes you likable. It allows you to resonate with people who also go through this same embarrassment and shame whenever they are flustered around the person that they like. A second thing that Sabrina Carpenter does great on this track is being meta. This song is kind of breaking the fourth wall constantly. Whether it's right before the chorus when she says, had to jump the octave, and then she literally jumps an octave, or whether it's at the end of the song where she says, woke up this morning, thought I'd write a pop hit. It's just so meta. It's so self-aware of what it is. And I think that there's something to be admired there, right? It's like, we see what you're doing there, Sabrina. Don't think you didn't get us. But then she's like, I got you. And there's just something so fun about that. I don't know. So I think that meta element is critical if you want to capture what makes Nonsense so special. Even in the Christmas version of this track, it's aware of what it is. Some songs like try to hide what they are, right? Doja Cat is kind of an example of this, where she like maligned her fans who were into her more pop tracks, and they were like, oh, I can't believe you fell for that pop garbage, like I'm a real artist now. No, Sabrina Carpenter knows what Nonsense is. It's a pop song, and there's fun to be had with that, and Sabrina's leaning into the fun. Building off of that, I mean, this song is funny. It's so funny. There's so much humor to this track, and I think that is also critical when writing a song like Nonsense. Something about like, my tongue goes numb, it sounds like blee blee blee. Like, I can't even say that without laughing. Sabrina literally laughs during the song, and it's meant to be enjoyed. You know, music's meant to be shared, and it's meant to be this like spiritual experience, and that can be a positive thing. We can have fun and laugh while listening to music, right? This song can be serious but also funny, right? It is a fully legitimate song, but it's also self-aware to an extent that it makes light of itself. It's funny. It's also worth mentioning that this song is pretty explicit. Sabrina Carpenter doesn't really shy away from more raunchy lyrics and storytelling and subject matter. And a lot of artists these days have been doing that, have been leaning into the more provocative, raunchy subjects. And I think that that's special. I think that that differentiates themselves from the past, where it felt like everything had to be like puritanical, like kissing and love, and you know, it doesn't have to be like that. Like knowing where your other sock is, how quickly can you take your clothes off pop quiz. It contrasts this kind of goofy element that we've established before, and it also contrasts the like vulnerable, like, oh, I only talk nonsense when I'm around you, because it's like, oh, but you have a dirty side here. You might be kind of goofy, but you've also got this like suave like underside that you're talking about in the lyrics, right? You know, people are complex, people have layers, and to touch on that while not like giving up the funniness, I think that that's pretty special, right? We can be both funny and sexy and meta and vulnerable, and that's fine. Going on to a slightly different tangent, I think it's important to talk about the repetition of this track. I originally didn't really like the song because I felt like it was just repetitive. I thought the da 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 da, right, like, you know, that you don't even know which line in the song I'm referencing there, because that's every part of the song. But is it? I mean, yes and no. A YouTuber that I respect a lot, who I reference a lot, is Adam Neely. And Adam Neely once said, repetition legitimizes. I firmly believe that. The more you hear this, the more you're like used to it, the more you're accustomed to it. And it allows her to sort of play with that refrain. So then when it doesn't come, you're like, whoa, I was expecting that, but it didn't come, right? There's all these things that you can do with this simple motif, and she builds off of the motif brilliantly. And it's also the kind of motif that, like I said before, it just gets stuck in your head. You cannot go a day without thinking of this song for days after you hear it once. It's kind of ridiculous, but it's also pretty impressive. Another important thing about this track is the switches to Sabrina's lyrical cadence. Now, Sabrina said in her Genius interview that one of her friends told her that like a specific verse to the song is her as a rapper. And I think that that was pretty funny, but in some ways it's kind of true, where Sabrina does something that a lot of rappers do, where they mix up the flows, right? The first verse is like da 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 da, but then the bridge goes da 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 da, and then the chorus is da 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 da. Then the next verse is like da 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 da, right? It keeps mixing up, and this plays with the repetition, where the main motif is still there, but Sabrina's vocals and her cadence change, and that's how she keeps us interested. That's how she keeps us singing. That's how she keeps us dancing. That's what makes this song so enjoyable. It's those cadence changes. Another thing that I kind of touched on earlier, but I want to touch on again, is the irony behind some of the lyrics, right? It's that part where Sabrina goes like, oh, I feel so good, I had to jump the octave, right? She is jumping an octave when she says she felt so good she had to jump an octave. It's lyrical irony, where it literally corresponds to what the music is doing. I think that this is genius. And also when she's like, my tongue goes numb, I go like bleed, bleed, bleed. Being literal, but in an ironic sense. This isn't just, oh, I'm telling you what I'm feeling. It's demonstrating to us. She's showing and not telling. while also telling. It's kind of funny in that way. Yeah, that's definitely a critical part if you're trying to replicate this song. It's that lyrical irony. Then, of course, we should talk about the harmonies in the chorus. Oh my God, does this song have some strong harmonies. Sabrina Carpenter is just a gifted vocalist, and the building up to the chorus would have been fine even without the harmonies and the backing vocals, but when those kick in, it's like a chorus of angels that just depicts your mood. It builds off of that jump from the octave, and it's just strong. It's such a good lead into the chorus that when you're in the chorus, it's like a completely different feeling to the song. It's almost like what it feels like when you're around that person that you really, really like, that just makes you feel like nonsense. And of course, I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about the outros that Sabrina has to this song. I just think they're so fun, and Sabrina is a lyrical genius to come up with those. She said that she came up with so many and a lot of them got rejected, and this sort of motif just lends itself really well to that improvisation. So that makes it like a different song every time you go see her perform, and you could almost be like, ooh, I wonder what she's gonna say. You could come up with your own outros too. It's just so fun. And if you're trying to replicate nonsense, you should have some sort of improv element to it at the end, because I think that is just the heart of the song right there, really. But that is it. That is 10 tips to writing a song like Nonsense by Sabrina Carpenter. I hope you all enjoyed, and if you did, please click the like and comment. I hope that you think I like the nonsense. Fuck. Sabrina, I am single if you want it. Damn.